Peace, peace, peace. I want to welcome everybody to another edition, another episode of Against the Grain, where we will be discussing the topic at hand. Um, if you're in the chat, just let me know you can hear me. I want to make sure my volume is good. I know it's late or it's early, but I'm up and I want to address this because I hear this being talked about a lot, and I want to go ahead and address this officially for myself, for the Moorish Science Temple of America, and just for scholarship purposes. Of course, I'm not going to address everything that can be addressed, but I'm going to address a lot of things that need to be addressed in this conversation. So bear with me as I roll through these slides. If you're familiar with this topic, please, make sure you have any questions. We might be able to just stop right in the middle of what we're doing and address it. But here we go. Is Egypt really in America? Let's boom. Let's start here. So let's start with Prophet Noble Drew Ali's words. Let me come off the screen here. And let me also remove this from the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to read some words of Prophet Noble Drew Ali to get some context over this whole diatribe, this whole conversation. Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads, like the sword of old Damocles. Had intrigue and scurrilous cunning find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement. As the Moorish hordes increase here in America, all of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interests can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are one. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave, crying out, caveat emptor. Cast out the dead carcass, the Moors high above sea, these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait. That's kind of deep. Um, I just wanted to start with that because we're going to get right into it. So here is a book that some of you might be Let me go ahead and get in this frame. Many of you might be familiar with. All right. America is the True Old World, Volume 2. I think there's 3 volumes to this. So this brother, you can find him on Facebook. His name's down here at the bottom. And, you know, in my opinion, not the greatest scholarship. For example, here's something that you'll find within that work. And you see this says, the Americas is Grenada, Israel, the promised land. The Americas is Grenada, Israel. So he's saying that Grenada, South America, is really Israel. You know, everyone is entitled to an opinion. And I think it makes for good fiction. That's my opinion on that particular point. But here is this is basically the type of maps that are promoted by this type of foolishness. And I apologize. I don't know another way for me to zoom in without basically doing all of this here. So as I work this out, I'll figure it out and get better. You guys feel free to send me a message. Let me know how to work this stuff a little bit better. But yeah, so look here. So like I don't really even want to go too far off this, but you can see here Jerusalem, New Jerusalem, land of Canaan, and I don't even know what, I guess I can't read it, but I'm not going to read this ridiculousness. Yeah, but I wanted to show you guys this is what's being promoted. And I know we have New Jersey, that's basically like New Jerusalem. I get it, right? But they're not pointing at New Jersey. This, look, I'm just going to continue here. Let me get in here now. I don't know if I need some sound effects or what, but so here's one of this guy's claims. So I just screenshotted some of the claims, and I'm just going to address them as they come. The biblical ancient Egypt was in the Americas. And this blog post is an image of the Old Testament map of ancient Americas that show you Assyrian, Iran, Turkey, Babylon, Sumer, Mesopotamia, Moab, Egypt, Texas, and Jerusalem, all in North America. Credits for this map is given for the great share. UB News was a Hebrew news media outlet that is on YouTube. So I think that's here. I don't know if I have that map up on here, but that might have been the map that I just showed, to be honest. Forgive me if it's not, but just double check it. Because I have a lot more slides to cover, and that was not really that important. The Old Testament map shows you the state of Texas as being designated as ancient Egypt. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you point for point what's going on here. The Old Testament map shows you the state of Texas as being designated as ancient Egypt. I believe that Texas was ancient Egypt. This is the guy Amenhotep El Bey Calvin or something like that. In addition, Texas also has a Nile, Texas, which is now extinct, but it used to exist according to the 1907 map of Milan County, or Milam County, Texas, that I shared in this blog post that shows you Nile, Texas. I circled Nile, Texas in blue ink on the 1907 map for your viewing convenience because it was hard for me to find it first. Additionally, Texas has a Karnak, Texas, which was named after Karnak, Egypt, because Karnak's alignment with the city of Port Cado was similar to Karnak and Thebes in ancient Egypt. So right here, I just want to stop right here. I'm going to come back and address this stuff, but just in here it says Texas has a Karnak, Texas, which was named after Karnak, Egypt, because of Karnak's alignment with the city of Port Cado. So it's saying the name of this place was Port Cado, not Karnak, right? So, we got to be clear. And it says it was named after Egypt, but up here he's saying the reverse. So we're going to deal with that. And then it says Karnak is a rural unincorporated community in northeastern Harrison County near Caddo Lake in the eastern region of the U.S. state of Texas. It goes on to say the town is named after Karnak, Egypt, near modern-day Luxor. It was thought that the community's alignment with the city of Port Cado was relative to that of Karnak and Thebes, end quote. You can find that in Wikipedia. So it's clearly, what's the word? It's basically debunking itself, right? Because it's saying the biblical ancient Egypt was in the Americas. But now they're saying, oh, no, this was named after the biblical Egypt. So I'm going to keep going. Here is that place, Egypt, Wharton County, Texas. Right? This is important because I'm going to come off the screen so I can see the whole thing. I don't know if I'm able to move here or what. Okay. So you can see Egypt, Texas, Wharton County. Egypt is an unincorporated community in northern Wharton County in the U.S. state of Texas. According to the Handbook of Texas, the community had the population of 26 in 2000. It is located within the greater Houston metropolitan area. Okay. History. Egypt was founded before any other settlement in Wharton County and was a part of Colorado County during the Republic of Texas period. Egypt is located on John C. Clark's League of Land. Robert Kai Kendall had land below Egypt and Thomas Rabb had land north of the community. These three men were members of the Old 300. The Karankawa Indians preferred hunting along the Colorado River. Due to the efforts of these individuals, the area quickly became secure enough for others to settle in Eli Mercer developed a plantation and ferry on the Colorado River at the San Felipe Texana crossing in 1829, marking the beginning of the original community a few miles from the river, where the road from Matagorda to Columbus crossed the San Felipe Texana Road, is where the community grew when a severe drought caused it to supply nearby villages with grain. They started calling it Egypt. William J. E. Hurd established Egypt Plantation in 1832 on the 2,222 acres, 899 hectares he acquired from Clark and constructed his residence in what is now the city center. His family was still living there in 1992 in November. 1835, a post office was inaugurated, etc. So that gives you the history of it and lets you know that this is not ancient Egypt. So, we just cleared up. I think we debunked 2 points out of that first one. Let me just back up, make sure we keeping track here. Yeah, so we debunked this whole Texas is Egypt. We also it debunked its own claim of Karnak uh, being in Texas as well, uh, for the same reason. So let's see here. Let's fast forward a little bit here. So I want to give, I want to give as much evidence to to the point of, let's see how far this rabbit hole goes. How old is this stuff coming from the Americans? Um, so let's just kind of roll through it and see. Like this is pretty old here. The surface of the mastodon bone showing half impact notch on the segment of the femur, right? So in 1992, construction workers were digging up a freeway in San Diego, California, when they came across a trove of ancient bones. Among them were the remains of dire wolves, camels, horses, and gophers. But the most intriguing were those belonging to an adult male mastodon. After years of testing, an interdisciplinary team of researchers announced this week that these mastodon bones date back to 130,000 years ago. The researchers then went on to make an even more stunning assertion. These bones, they claim, also bear the marks of human activity. So, this is giving the inclination that perhaps we have a example of ancient human activity in California, going back as far as 130,000 years, which is pretty old. That's pretty far back. In fact, that's the oldest, evidence. It's not even evidence per se. Um, it's an assertion that some scientists have made, but there's some that don't necessarily agree with that. But that's the general consensus about that. We also have here, let me see if I can make this bigger. So these footprints belong to teenagers and children who lived between 23,000 and 21,000 years ago. This is in North America here. Okay, so 23, 21,000. Footprints aren't like stone tools. A footprint is a footprint and it can't move up and down in the soil layers. While the nature of the physical evidence here is harder to dismiss, the researchers had to ensure the dating evidence was quite literally watertight. Potential complications flagged up by journal during the early stages of review was the reservoir effect. This refers to the way that old carbon can sometimes get recycled in aqueous environments, interfering with radiocarbon results by making a site seem older. The team members say they have accounted for this effect and believe it is not significant here. Professor Tim Hayam, I believe that's Hayam or Higam, a radiocarbon dating expert at the University of Vienna, said they've undertaken some checks on the dates of materials from near to the footprint location and found that fully terrestrial samples charcoal produced ages similar to those of the aquatic species they dated from nearer to the footprints. They've also argued, I think justifiably, that the lake must have been shallow at the time people walked there, mitigating the effect of reservoir effects introducing by old carbon sources. The consistency of the results and the support from the different dating techniques applied to the site both supported the validity of the results, he added. I think taken together, this is a 21 to 23,000-year-old sequence, Professor Higham told BBC News. The controversies in early American archaeology have much to do with the historical development of the field. So as you can see there, there's some pretty old stuff in, in the Americas. According to Wikipedia, the bones of Arlington Springs Man are the oldest human remains found in the Americas, dating back to 13,000 years, making him the earliest dated adult in North America. Archaeologists feel or discovered the remains in 1959, and they were originally thought to be 10,000 years old. But modern carbon dating techniques indicate they are actually 3,000 years older, right? An article to be published on July 31st in Nature Ecology and Evolution reveals that Luzio, the oldest human skeleton found in Sao Paulo State, Brazil, was a descendant of the ancestral population that settled the Americas at least 16,000 years ago and gave rise to all present day indigenous peoples, such as the Tupi. Based on the largest set of Brazilian archaeological genomic data, the study reported in the article also offers an explanation for the disappearance of the oldest coastal communities who built the icons of Brazilian archaeology known as sambukis or sambakis, huge mounds of shells and fish bones used as dwellings, cemeteries, and territorial boundaries. Archaeologists often refer to these monuments as shell mounds or kitchen middens. After the Andean civilization, the Atlantic coast Sambacal builders were the human phenomenon with the highest demographic density in the pre-colonial South America. They were the kings of the coast for thousands and thousands of years. They vanished suddenly about 2,000 years ago. And Andre Menezes Strauss, an archaeologist at the University of Sao Paulo's Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology, MAEUSP, and principal investigator for the study. So we're just digging a little deep. We're just showing some things. Poverty Point, 3,400 years ago, built by American Indians or mound builders. Poverty Point is unlike any other site. It's designed with multiple mounds and C-shaped ridges. It's not found anywhere else in its time and has the largest earthworks in the Western Hemisphere. Same thing. Could lift that out. Um, Here's also some information from Clyde Winters dealing with the Olmec writing and language. You see here, he's saying that the Olmec spoke the Malinki Bambara language of the Mandi people who lived in West Africa. And he's saying to decipher Olmec, I base my research on the findings of Leo Weiner and C. Raffinique. And what he said here, let's see. Oh, these are just the translations, but he's making the claim that these Olmecs were speaking African languages, and he was able to decipher this, and he wrote actual books um, where you can actually look this stuff up and see the relationship to the languages, the writing, and he also has it where I mean, he's got it down to the dates. So anyway, here the Sioux Empire. In the Sioux Empire, Malinki Bambara was used as the lingua franca among tribes from the Nile Valley to West Africa. The the Maites, the Ma'aites used the lingua franca of the Sioux people. The Sioux people were Malinki Bambara. Sioux founded the Minoan Shi civilization of China and the Elamite civilization. So he's going back pretty far. Um, but what I'm showing you now, if you noticed, is now the connections that's showing up. Okay. So here's also evidence of cranial surgery and head shaping for beauty happening over 2,000 years ago in the Americas and South America specifically. Here is let's open this up a little bit. Yeah, here's an oxamite, as they would put it in the literature. This is how it's referenced as an oxamite head. This is found in Mexico. Um, so this is basically an Eritrean, what many might consider today an Ethiopian. Um, but these were the people who uh, occupied and ruled the Red Sea for thousands of years, and the areas from basically the Nile Valley all the way into India. Um, but as you can see, this was found of these people in Mexico. And I'll show you some more. Here we go. This is a basically a stela that was found in Mexico. This is, if you don't recognize this language, it is Tigrinya. Tigrinya. So this is one of the earliest languages. So this is a stele of Tigrinya from 2,000 years ago, found in Mexico in the Americas. Tigrinya is a child, if you will, of the father of all languages, known as Ge'ez. So the Ge'ez gave birth to this Tigrinya. It also gave birth to Arabic. It also gave birth to Hebrew, Aramaic, all of the Canaanitish dialects, uh, the Afro-Asiatic dialects in general, the Himyarite, the Mudar, etc., etc., etc. So as we can see, this influence is big. Here's a little bit more, some more Tigrinya. Now we're gonna just bring it up a little more closer in time. This is dealing with the Seminoles. Seminoles of Florida. Empire vanquished by Cortez became 100 years later the Creek Confederacy from which branched the Seminoles. It will take no great stretch of fancy to suppose that before the mysterious chain of migration, the Aztecs and the early Egyptians were allied. As we study today the frail remnants of the vanishing Aborigines in the heart of the Everglades, may we not find a coincidence of usages that at least give abundant food for speculation, and the resemblance of the present Seminole to the ancient Egyptian suggests strong points of similitude to that of the old Israelites and the common origin of the North American Indian and the older tribes whose magnificent wrecks strew the borders of the Nile. So this is a reference, showing in history that people were recognizing a kinship among certain tribes in the Americas and the Egyptians, right? But one thing that I wanted to elucidate is that, we have to be, let me make this thing a little bit. Look, we got to be real about these things. We can't be out here uh, making up stuff and really just looking silly. We have to be able to demonstrate what it is that we say we believe or think, uh, or else we're just giving our opinion, which is fine. Everyone's opinion is valuable in its own right. Um, However, when we're speaking on scholarship, we want to make sure that we're on the same page and that uh, we have all the information. So let's look at this one. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. All right, so Handbook of South Carolina, page 63. That is the statement of the mayor of Beaufort, and Beaufort is perhaps the blackest spot in the whole South. That is to say, the Negro population predominate more there than anywhere else. There is a peculiar historical fact connected with that town that I would like to mention to the commission. That is the place where the federal troops first set the Negroes free. It was done on those islands in the neighborhood of Beaufort, and they are now there, the predominant race. And this mayor refers to them as a quiet community. A most peculiar thing is this, uh, what does that say? Quatrophages in his book on the human race asserts the fact that the African lived on these islands long before the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus. He is he is high authority, and he says that the Yamasee Indians were Negroes, what were known afterwards as the fiercest of the Indian tribes of the South. The well-known Yamasee Indians were Africans. And then it looks like it says here, it looks like a question by Mr. Phillips. Is it a fact that they were much darker than the other Indians? Answer: yes, it is a fact. Question: and the hair was different too? Answer: so it is stated by one of the most distinguished ethnologists in the world. Another corroborative proof is that the Spaniards found that one Negro was equal to 10 Indians for work, and they therefore imported these Indian Negroes and carried them to the West Indies to experiment with. To experiment with. So, I by no means want to deny the antiquity of Homo sapiens and even Africans in the Americas, right? That is definitely not my goal. Um, let me make sure I'm not missing something here. Might be in the wrong place. It's okay. But anyway, so this is my next slide. I'm gonna move out of the way so you can fully read the slide here. And y'all let me know if this is helpful. If you're learning something, please let me know. Drop a comment. If I'm moving too fast, if I'm moving too slow, If you know, just let me know. I want to get better. I have a lot of information to share, and I want to make sure that it gets out and that it's digestible. So here I have a slide. Let me see if I make it big, maybe brighter. Can I give you a little bit more? Yeah, maybe a little something. All right. So this particular portrait is of an Incan nobleman and his sons. An Incan nobleman and his sons, painted by native Andean painter Andres Sanchez Galic in 1599. Okay. The Inca are depicted wearing Spanish clothing, but with Inca gold adornments, and are captioned with Spaniard names prefixed by Dom, meaning Lord or gentleman. So these are, royalty. It is the oldest known signed and dated painting from South America, and is said to have been commissioned by a colonial official as a gift to the King of Spain, Museo Nacional, so National Museum del Prado, Madrid. Okay, so hopefully, I'm painting a clear picture here of the antiquity, excuse me, that we're dealing with. Um, this is a slide from the good brother Sharif Aniel Bey, and I just wanted to play it because of the date, one, and two. Um, you can see here Carta Marina of Frisius 1525, issued in 1525, an exposition of his theories and sea charts. The map is of interest as the sole instance in which North America is called a part of Africa. Okay. Rectifications, Historias Extracto, and you can see this in the Spanish Narratives and Critical History of American Spanish Exploration, page 127 by Justin Windsor. Okay, so here's even an instance where a reference from 1525 referencing North America as a part of Africa, an extension, a dominion. Okay, because that's important. I'm gonna have to go get some water in a second, family. So give me a second. All right, we already touched on that one. So that's the brother that's making the claim. So we've already, really debunked these claims. So I want you guys to, share this video to the brother. Let him know. Um, it's not a situation where I want to cause any confusion. I don't want to speak reckless or have any controversy per se. But what I want to do is clear up the controversy and clear up the confusion and bring clarity to the situation. So just want to make that clear. So, brother, reach out to me because we got some cleaning up to do. I know that's probably your bread and butter, and I understand that. But you're going to have to do a part 4 with the cleanup. You done found out some things. Okay? So, I'm going to sit this here for a second. Y'all excuse me. I'm going to get some refreshments, and then I'm going to be back.
Greetings, peace and love, and welcome to Smile Pharmacy Apothecary. We've been here since 2019, and although times have changed and healthcare has evolved, our traditions of compassion and professionalism thrives on. You are always at the heart of what we do. Smile Pharmacy, we heal. Visit us today online or in store at smilepharmacy.com.
All right, family, we're back. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to take that quick intermission. I had to get a refill here, and pretty soon I'm gonna be offering this water. So I actually, it's totally off topic, but I farm, and I actually go to a local private spring where I get some amazing fresh alkaline spring water. Very delicious. So if you're interested, let me know, and I will give you more information as soon as we have it ready to go. Only issue is we're getting our glass bottles and all of our licensing and everything. So bear with us on that. As far as this information is concerned, let's lock in a little bit tighter. All right. So we've been talking about the antiquity of America, of course. You know, this is the Against the Gang podcast. You are definitely on the Moorish Diaspora. So that is our channel. If this information is definitely, you find it beneficial, you're learning something, definitely hit subscribe, definitely hit like, share it. We are going to do our best to bring you this information on a regular basis. I missed last week, so definitely forgive me. But our topic that we're dealing with is America really ancient Egypt? And, you know, secondary question, is Peru really Jerusalem? These are real questions. I don't know, you know, some of y'all might be laughing right now. I laughed at first, but this is a real serious topic, and there are thousands of people that believe this. There's a number one, I mean, at one point it was I guess, a New York bestseller, some type of bestseller, uh, and we're gonna touch on that in a minute. That was giving this information out, and people were taking it, and they take it literally. So, here what I have on screen, since I've been acknowledging and dealing with all of the. Hold on one second. All right, so yeah, so I was dealing with the antiquity of the Americas and the various anthropology and archaeology from North and Central South America. I just made sure I touched on all of the high points, all of the main points, if you will. And we also dealt with the claims that the one brother was making about Egypt being in the Americas and literally being in Texas. And we had to debunk that. So if you haven't seen that yet, you just tune it in or whatever. Just rewind that so you can catch that, and then so you can catch up. So now, because we have to compare, these apples to these oranges. So we looked at the oldest dates in the Americas. Now let's deal with the oldest dates in Africa, if you will. So according to nature, the oldest known Homo sapien fossils are skulls from Ethiopia that are 196,000 and 160,000 years old. However, other fossils are also considered among the oldest, including Jebel and Hood remains found in Morocco. These remains include a skull, face, jaw bones, brain case, stone tools, more than 20 new human bones. Uh, Floresbad skull discovered in 1932 in South Africa. This partial cranium is 260,000 years old. LH18 discovered in 1976 in Ingaloba, Latoli, Tanzania. This skull is about 120,000 years old. Kibish Omo 1. This fossil is around 197,000 years old. Hertu hominins, ha, ha, excuse me, hominins. This fossil is around 160,000 to 155,000 years old. So that being said, we had to, because these arguments that we're addressing, it's more than just the argument itself, because these arguments lend into other things. And I'm flexible regarding, information. So if the information comes out and says, hey, man, there's bones 380,000 years in the US, or somewhere in the Americas. I mean, I would have to accept that if that's what it was. But up to this point, all we find is migration. And I will say that one Lucia that I shared, she comes up to about 13,000 years old. She used to be dated back to 70,000. And then she got brought back to 60, 50, 40, 20, 10 this year got pushed back to 13. So, um, you know, who's to say? Over time, anything is possible, but just looking at the evidence right now, um, I have to go with the out of Africa theory for now, right? Because even the out of Africa migration, right? Bob Walter discovered the oldest evidence of stone tools in a marine environment dating at 125,000 years old. The find suggests early human ancestry migrated out of Africa north along Eritrea's Red Sea coast. And you can see the source there. But this is important because, you know, even the oldest potential evidence in the Americas dates back to around this time, the time when people are starting to leave, migrate out of Africa, out of the continent of Africa, or at least there's evidence of that during this time period. So this is important because you don't actually find any evidence, real evidence, because the evidence that I shared, I mean, it's a potentiality. I mean, it could have just been bit on by a saber-toothed tiger, but you know, anyway, we're gonna come out of there because I want to continue to deal with this issue, the out of Africa theory. So people have an issue with it because they say, "Oh, well, that's a theory." I've debated this topic with some of your some of your favorite people, uh, and just had to shut it down because if you look here, the out of Africa theory, or the recent African origin of modern humans, is the most widely accepted model for the geographic origin and early migration of anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens. The theory proposes that Homo sapiens originated in Africa. Homo sapiens immigrated from Africa 2,000 generations ago. Homo sapiens spread throughout Eurasia over thousands of years. A second migration out of Africa happened about 100,000 years ago. Anatomically, modern humans of African origin conquered the world by completely replacing archaic human populations. That's deep. So, you know, this is what we have right now. I'm not against my people that are saying, "Hey, we come from America." That's fine. I've shared in one of our other. I was born in America. I was born in Georgia. So, you know, I feel you on that. However, you know, and I have indigenous blood here uh, from this country. But when we look even at that, if we're going to look at the genomes and the haplogroups, etc., we look at the haplogroups of the Native American peoples here in the U.S. At the end of the day, they all go back to Africa, one way or another. Um, that's the haplogroup A, B, C, D, and X. And anybody can feel free to look that up, and maybe we'll cover that another time. I think we did cover it briefly once before, but we can go a little bit deeper and just highlight that, make it a whole episode. So here we got, let me see. Yep. So we covered the out of Africa theory because I wanted to make sure that we're on the same page and that, we're thinking like scientists. I think that's important when we're dealing with this information because, you know, this is how scientists communicate. This is how they deal with each other's information. They cross reference it, they peer review it, they, you know, they give it their full opinion and, based on their experience and expertise. So that's what we're doing here. We're just using our five senses to just really see if the things that we're being told are accurate or not. Let me see here. I feel like my stuff is kind of in my way. Maybe that's better. That better? Yeah. Okay, maybe that's better. So let's read this next part. Additional clues can be found. Okay, so going into this guy's next point, right? We're gonna follow the rabbit hole again, and we're just gonna get us another rabbit foot. Okay. Additional clues can be found with a quick study of the etymology of the name Missouri. You will learn that it is just a corruption of Mizraim. You guys got that, right? Who was Mizraim? Well, Mizraim, according to the King James Version Bible, was the son of Ham, and he was the younger brother of Cush and the elder brother of Phut in Canaan, the Phoenicians, whose families together made up the Hamite branch of Noah's descendants. According to Wikipedia, excuse me, Mizraim means Egypt. All right. So they said, quick study of the etymology of the name Missouri, you will learn that it is just a corruption of Mizraim. Let's see. Let's see. Missouri. Etymology of Missouri. Okay. It wasn't too difficult. Originally a name for a group of native peoples among Chiwere Siwan tribes from an Algonquin word recorded circa 1700, said to mean literally people of the big canoes. Formed as a U.S. territory in 1812 out of the whole of the Louisiana Purchase, not admitted that year as the state of Louisiana, admitted as a state 1821. In U.S. history, the Missouri Compromise 1820 in Congress admitted Missouri as a slave state, along with Maine as a free one, but set a line westward from the Maine southern border of Missouri, above which no new states would be admitted with slavery. It has been the show me state since at least 1902. The expression, I'm from Missouri, you'll have to show me, is attested from at least 1880. Related, Missourian. So we don't see anything that references Misri or Misrahim here for Missouri. All right. It's basically a local name. Okay. Now, or it's based on a local name. So it's like a corruption of whatever the local people were calling themselves. Okay, so now let's look at Misrahim to see if we can see, maybe if we look at the etymology of Misrahim, maybe it'll connect to Missouri or something. You know, let's open that up. Misrahim, Hebrew, Misrahim, Misri, Hebrew, Aramaic name of the land of Egypt and its people, right? So we can see here, Misrahim is the Hebrew cognate of the common Semitic source word for the land now known as Egypt. It is similar to Misri in modern Arabic, Misrin, Misri in the 14th century BC Akkadian Amarna tablets, Misraim in the Ugaritic, Misraim Neo-Babylonian text, and Musur in Neo-Assyrian, Akkadian, Essene, and Rasam cylinder. To this root is appended the dual suffix, perhaps referring to the two Egypts, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. This word is similar in pronunciation and spelling to the Hebrew words Matzor and Mitzar, meaning literally siege and strait distress, respectfully, and may carry those connotations to Hebrew speakers. Some scholars think it likely that Misrahim is a dual form of the words Misri, meaning land, and was translated literally into ancient Egyptian as Tawi, the two lands, by early pharaohs at Thebes who later founded the Middle Kingdom. So, again, no connection. So that's another claim debunked. Let me make sure. I'm going to go back to it because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Nope. Okay. So we got that one knocked out the park as well. Now let's go a little bit deeper because the claims are also that the and which is very confusing because Egypt is supposed to be in Texas and Karnak was in Texas, but we debunked that. And Memphis, the capital of Egypt, ancient Egypt, is supposed to be in Tennessee. So let's see, what is Memphis, Egypt called now? Hopefully you guys can see me. Memphis now called, let me make this bigger for you guys. Mitrahine was the capital city of Egypt during the Old Kingdom, 2625 to 2130 BC. That's a long time ago. And remained an important administrative and religious center throughout Egyptian history, right? And of course, here's your. So this didn't say America, like this. This is in Africa. Okay, we're talking about Africa, not America. America. All right, it's not America we're talking about here, guys. Just want to be clear. So let's read a little bit about it, so we can learn a bit about ancient Memphis. Dashur, Memphis, and Saqqara contain some of the oldest and best preserved sites, not only in Egypt, but in the world. Dashur, Memphis, and Saqqara can be visited on a day trip from Cairo and Giza, and this day trip beat all of our expectations, touring the pyramids of Dashur feeling like an adventure. So this is, I just pulled this from like a travel site. This was somebody just talking about their travel in Memphis. And the reason why I put this is that anybody who ends up going to or plans on going to Egypt, Kemet, you can add this to your list of places to go. I literally put that for that reason. So I just wanted to read that for you. So here is some of the things you'll see when you go to Memphis, right? And I'm not talking about Tennessee. No shot at Tennessee. I love Tennessee. I really do. But this is what you're going to see. Okay. Let's make this big. Memphis, Egypt is known for its ancient pyramids, which are part of the necropolis of Memphis, which is located in the center of the Nile floodplain. The necropolis contains, excuse me, the first monumental stone buildings in Egypt history, including the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, the Pyramid of Djoser, the oldest pyramid ever constructed, the Great Sphinx, an outstanding structure. So these things are all in Memphis, right? I wanted that to be clear because these things are not referencing Tennessee. Let's be clear on that. This is not Tennessee. This is in Africa. So let's stop playing. Let's stop playing games, y'all. So, these dates here can be debated, but according to National Geographic, Giza pyramids, built to endure an eternity, have done just that. The monumental tombs are relics of Egypt's Old Kingdom era and were constructed some 4,500 years ago. And so, this area where where they call Pyramid of Giza, this is part of Old Memphis. And if I'm not mistaken, it might have been pronounced Merenpatah, something to that effect. I did mean to put that in here, but I did not do that, so forgive me. And another thing we have not dealt with directly is that obviously, these claims of Egypt in America is very interesting because Egypt isn't even a word that the people use to describe themselves. That is a corruption of, one small area in ancient Tamari, where, the Greeks began to identify all, I believe, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing, Hikpata was mispronounced as Egypt. And one of the ancient names was also Gibbs. So, these are things that we have to, identify, be aware of. But as you can see here, these are pyramids built to endure eternity 4,500 years ago, roughly. That can be debated. There's other data that exists that pushes the dates, you know, quite a bit, back further. And that's, again, that's to be debated and proven. Here we go. Here again, more information regarding Memphis. Closely associated with the ancient city site are the cemeteries or necropolises of Memphis, where the famous pyramids of Egypt are located. From north to south, the main pyramid fields are Abu Ruwaish, Giza, Zawit, Al Aryan, Abu Sur Saqqara, and Dashur. And as you can see here, as I mentioned earlier, so these are all of, this is ancient Memphis, right? So when you see this, that's where what Memphis was like. I don't want anybody to be misconstrued, misdirected, uh, led astray regarding this information. You know, these things were not in Tennessee. No, I'm sorry. I don't know if that hurt some people, but I gotta keep it all the way. Here we go, y'all. So, why is Memphis, Tennessee, named after Egypt? And this is key again because they're saying that this, you know what I mean? So again, we're just cleaning up. That's what we're doing. Just we got the mop. We're just clearing up all the confusion. All right. They say when you clean up the clutter, not a mind can think. All right. Organize. So why is Memphis, Tennessee named after Egypt? The modern city was founded in 1819 and named Memphis. The name was chosen because of the ancient city of Memphis in Egypt. Memphis, Egypt was founded thousands of years before the United States even existed. But like Memphis, Tennessee, it was also located on a great river, the Nile. Okay. But like Memphis, Tennessee, it was also located on a great river, the Nile. So, Memphis is on the Mississippi, right? And we're going to deal with that as well because there's some claims that he also made about Mississippi or the Mississippi, um, along with this other author. I guess I haven't touched on the other author yet. Let's see. So again, this is this is Memphis, Egypt. Okay. This is Memphis, Tennessee. So I'll make it bigger because all right. So Memphis, Tennessee, y'all. How about that? I'm gonna show y'all the ancient sites in Memphis, Tennessee. Right. I just showed y'all what it looked like. Um, Memphis, Egypt. Here's Memphis, Tennessee. So, it has some nice mounds. I ain't mad at that. I'm sure that was crazy during this time, right? And just for the record, this is all in Memphis, Tennessee, right here. All right, so these are earthen mounds. They did their thing. I'm not fronting on it. Okay, let me make that bigger too. So yeah, I mean, this is dope. This is a dope structure. I'm feeling it. Um, if y'all got questions, please, you know, ask me while I'm on here. I won't be on here too much longer. I know it's super, super late or super early in the morning, but I was up and I meant to do this earlier. I didn't want to postpone it any longer. So I just went ahead and went live. But as you can see, there's a big difference between Memphis, Egypt, and Memphis, Tennessee. And I hope I've been able to elucidate that point in a way that is clear and concise and not confusing. So we can see here location of Memphis and its necropolis, Memphis. So this area is where Memphis is located. Right. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. But anyway, this is the continent of Africa. This is not in the Americas. I want to make that clear. abundantly clear. All right. So, boom. Like, I feel like I need to make a part two for the rest of this because, I mean, I'm gonna finish up. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up. Lower ancient Egypt was in North America, so we already really dealt with this, but let's deal with the let's hear the narrative out and let's deal with the claims. Lower ancient Egypt was in North America. Hmm. When discussing ancient Egypt, the focus has to be on the Nile River system of the White Nile and the Blue Nile, which is allegedly the longest river in the world at 4132 miles long. However, when you combine the Mississippi and it says Miss Isis River system of the Missouri River, 2540 miles, and the Mississippi 2340, you will have a total length of miles 4890, which is 758 miles longer than the Nile River system that is in Africa. Yes, the Mississippi River system is the longest, which is a strong indication that it was your first Nile River system. And this post is a image of the Mississippi River and its seven streams as described in the book of Isaiah 11:15 King James Version. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. I'm not sure what dry shod means. So if you guys know what dry shod means, please put it in the chat. I'll look it up later. Notice the seven streams that flow into the mouth of the Egyptian Sea, the Gulf of Mexico. This guy says the Mediterranean is the Gulf of Mexico. In ancient times, the Gulf of Mexico was known as the Egyptian Sea. And the book of Isaiah 11:15 King James Bible proves that it's factual. I excuse me. Uh, I mean, you guys heard it here. We're gonna deal with it. So let's do this first. Old English, Egyptians, from French Egypt, from Greek Egyptos, the River Nile, Egypt, the Amana Hikpata. That's what I was mentioning earlier, corresponding to Egyptian Hak-Ptah, Temple of the Soul of Ptah, the creative god associated with Memphis, the ancient city of Egypt. Strictly one of the names of Memphis. It was taken, and so you see what I'm saying? This was just the name of Memphis. It was taken by the Greeks as the name of the whole country. The Egyptian name Kemet means black country, possibly in reference to the rich delta soil, the Arabic Misr, uh, which is derived from Misrahim, the name of a son of biblical Ham. So again, just breaking it, just breaking it down piece by piece and seeing that there's people out here that have bad intentions with the information, because here it goes. They called the Mississippi the Nile. Okay. And here is the Mississippi River, the Nile River. No, Nile River is the longest river in the world. Mississippi River is 33710, whereas Nile River is 4160. You see, that brother was making up his own stuff. He was like, well, if you put this with that, and you got this much more than that. Okay, but you can't, you can't put a feather in the hat and call it macaroni. Is all I'm saying. Like that's my whole point of doing this. Like I I have 100% faith that ancient Egyptians were coming here uh, throughout antiquity and conducting in trade, commerce, uh, probably pleasure, and who knows what else, back and forth for thousands of years. I have no doubt of this, right? Um, but I still am not. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to change the Congo to Wyoming. I'm not going to start saying, hey y'all, um, Congo is really Wyoming, because the the forest diversity in Wyoming is equal to that of the Congo if you were to adjust based on the per capita uh, size. But like people start making stuff up, and that's what I'm saying. Like we're not doing that here. We're gonna make sure that this information is getting to you and that you have access. So you can see that he just made that claim about the Mississippi being the Nile and that the Mississippi and the Missouri was really one river, but that's two rivers. And I'm gonna show that I'm not done on the river tip. Like I'm about to go in just a little bit on the rivers just to make sure that we're not missing nothing. So boom. Yes, the Missouri River is a tributary of the Mississippi River and joins it about 15 miles upstream of St. Louis, Missouri. The Missouri River is the longest river in North America, originating in southwestern Montana and flowing southeasterly for more than 2,500 miles through 6 states. The Mississippi River is the second longest river in the United States, and when combined with the Missouri and Ohio rivers, it's considered the third longest river system in the world. Together, the Missouri and Mississippi rivers form the world's fourth longest river system, stretching 3,610 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. Mm. So, again, debunked. Let your boy know that his whole house of cards is falling down right here, right now. Uh, mentioned the seven streams of the Nile. And the reason why I'm doing this because, of course, he said it was the Gulf of Mexico was we call it the Egyptian Sea. Okay, so what are the seven streams of the Nile? The basin of the present day Nile falls naturally into seven major regions: the Lake Plateau of East Africa, the El Jebel, the White Nile, the Blue Nile, the Atbara, the Nile north of Khartoum in Sudan and Egypt, and the Nile Delta. All right now, see, this is all in Africa, and I just want to reiterate again. What do we call the mouth of the Nile River that empties into the Mediterranean Sea? The Nile Delta. It's a delta formed in Lower Egypt where the Nile River spreads out and drains into the Mediterranean Sea, not the Gulf of Mexico. Not the Gulf of Mexico. Stop it. Stop it. I'm in Hotep El Bay and the the author of When Rocks Cry Out. What's that brother's name? He's coming up here in a minute. We'll deal with him. These folks lying to you, y'all. This is that scripture that they were talking about. I just wanted to pull it up because, again, I wanted to show you was wrong. He was trying to say that this scripture, when you pull it up, is showing you that it's actually the Gulf of Mexico. Well, let's see. Isaiah 11:15, King James Version. It's the version they said to read. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. Again, we haven't looked up dry shod, but we did look up the seven streams. We found that, and the Egyptian Sea is the Mediterranean. So, again, debunked. All right, here's some more stuff to debunk. I think we're almost done too, y'all. So hopefully I can get this done in the next 20 minutes. Upper ancient Egypt was in South America. What? What? When discussing any civilization, modern or ancient, the focus must always be on a huge source of fresh water for agriculture purposes, because without food there is no civilization or life. Ancient Egypt thrived as a civilization because of tech and because of the Nile River, which produced fertile lands necessary for agriculture along the Nile due to silt deposits. Now, mind you, that line is from someone who says that ancient Egypt didn't even exist in Africa. So now, this is the second time where he's like uh, contradicting himself completely. But I'm going to continue to read. The Amazon is the largest and widest body of fresh water in the world, with a length of 4,000 miles long. Allegedly, I said allegedly because some scientists argue that the Amazon is also the longest river in the world if you add in the adjacent Para estuary and the longest connecting tidal canal. See definition of length at Wikipedia. Yes, due to size of the Amazon River, it fits the description of being the upper Nile River because the lower Nile River was the Mississippi River system. This makes sense too if we apply the supreme axiom of as above, so below. Whoa, this this is crazy, y'all. You know, look, you might be you might be hook, line, and sinker on this. You might be going for it. You might be like, oh man, yeah, that makes sense. Now the Nile is really the Amazon and the Nile and the Amazon River, the upper and the lower, as above, so below. I mean, mind blown. But we're going to continue to read because we're going to continue to debunk this because we already did and what we already read. Let's see. Wow. Additional evidence that South America's upper ancient Egypt is the sheer number of pyramids in South America. There's more pyramids in Peru than all of Africa combined. That's not true. Now, if we include the pyramids of Central America, it's not even a contest anymore because they have found thousands of pyramids in Guatemala and Mexico. That is true. If you combine the total amount of pyramids in the Americas, there's more pyramids in the Americas than the entire world. It's estimated to be around 2,000 pyramids in the Americas, uh, where a country like we know today, the modern Sudan, has 200 pyramids by itself. Uh, of course, Eritrea has pyramids, Egypt has pyramids, and there's pyramids in other countries in Africa. However, Peru only has 30 pyramids. So this claim here, it says there is more pyramids in Peru, and they call it Peru, than all of Africa combined. That's just not true. 30, 200, we're not on the same page. Let's see here. Please keep in mind that the pyramid is a symbol of Atlantis and Egypt, therefore, more pyramids on this side. The Americas, Egypt and Atlantis were in the Americas. Well, as we just found out, Egypt is not in the Americas, and the previous page or screenshot uh, where this guy was making a claim that the reason why Egypt was so successful is because it was along the Nile in Africa, but at the same time, it's saying, oh, it didn't even exist there. So, yeah. Anyway, um, I don't even need to read that part. It's just extra information. But this is the Mediterranean. When rocks cry out. So this was the guy that uh, wrote the other book, When Rocks Cry Out. Let me make sure you see the whole book. Please do yourself a favor and do not, invest in that. Pull up the PDF. But if you like good fiction, then sure, buy it. But don't purchase it thinking that you are going to have some type of scholastic history lesson because you're not getting that from this. You will get a lot of stories about Peru being Jerusalem. Okay, here's some more claims here. And you can see in this claim, the brother is even naming Horace Butler, the gentleman we just had up on the screen. Let's see here. Upper Kush was in South America. Best-selling author Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out. It says, proved that Upper Egypt extended from Mexico to Peru. And he proved that Cusco, Peru, was the holy city of Jerusalem. I agree with him on these points, however. Cusco, Peru is also the biblical land of Cush, aka ancient Ethiopia, which is the birthplace of ancient Egypt. So, Peru is the birthplace of ancient Ethiopia and Egypt. Yeah, see, I can't make this up, y'all. I had to share this because, y'all heard what I read. Y'all see it on the screen. I don't even have to read it, technically. But I'm reading it so that we're in the same place, right? Which is the birthplace of ancient Egypt, because the first recorded pharaoh was Narmer. He said Nimrod of the Bible. And he was a son of Cush, or ancient Ethiopia. Narmer is given academic credit for founding Egypt because he was the first recorded pharaoh. Etymologically, Cush and Cusco are the same because they have a similar spelling phonetically. Cush and Cusco are the same because they are similar sounding or pronunciation. Yes, based upon the evidence, Kush and Cusco are one and the same. Wow, that was the way that you see how they broke that down. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that. Did y'all hear that? They say because it sound similar, sort of, kind of. And it says, first, etymologically, Kush and Cusco are the same. Uh, I don't, I don't think so. Uh, I think I got some slides on that. Let me finish. Um, I don't think we need to read the rest of that, but I will for the just for the record. Who was Cush or Cush? Cush or Cush? Hebrew pronunciation Cush was, according to the Bible, the eldest son of Ham, a son of Noah. Cush or Cush means black. He was a brother of Canaan, land of Canaan, Mizraim, Egypt, and Phut, land of Libya, and the father of the biblical Nimrod mentioned in the Table of Nations in Genesis 10:6 and 1 Chronicles 1:8. Cush is traditionally considered the eponymous ancestor of the people of the land of Cush, an ancient territory is believed to have been located on either side or both sides of the Red Sea. As such, Cush is alternately identified in Scripture with the kingdom of Cush or ancient Ethiopia. The Cushitic language are named after Cush. Okay, so man, hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm reading this information, so hopefully it's clear. So Cush, Belus Nimrod, king of Chaldea, serves to unite the Chaldeans with the old race of the Upper Nile, as does their building the Temple of Anu, another name of the original Cushite family. It was for this reason that Greek and Armenian geographers applied the name Ethiopia to Media, Persia, Susiana, Aria, and the entire region between the Indus and Tigris. In ancient days, the records of the Hebrews connected the Chaldeans, Ethiopians, and Egyptians in ties of kinship, and the findings of archaeological and philological research proves those records true. The wonderful Ethiopians of ancient Kushite Empire, the foundations of ancient Chaldea were laid as early as those of Egypt. In fact, they were the sister colonies of the parent state. The earliest civilized inhabitants were Sumerians, 5000 BC. The land was full of city states. The Sanskrit books of India called Chaldea one of the divisions of Kushadweepa, the first organized government of the world. These Sumerians were the inventors of the cuneiform systems of writing, which was later adopted by the Semitic conquerors. The northern division of Babylon was called Akkad, comprehending Babylon, the southern Sumer, including Erech and north of Akkad, were the Semitic Hamitic tribes, which so largely made up the blood of Assyria in later days. Cush, European Jews equivalent to nigger. The word Cushi, also spelled Cushi, is a Hebrew term generally used to refer to a dark-skinned person, usually of African descent. Initially, the word was used by Hebrew-speaking Jews to refer to individuals of Ethiopian origin derived from the biblical land of Cush. Dov Lior, a popular chief rabbi in Israel, recently called Obama a Cushi, which is Israel equivalent to nigger. Most Americans are completely unaware of the general contempt that many Jewish people have towards blacks. As Max Blumenthal found out when he interviewed dozens of young people in Israel who reiterated the rabbi's sentiments about Obama, Blumenthal's video titled Feeling the Hate in Israel, which was removed from YouTube, Vimeo, and Huffington Post shortly after going viral. All right. So just a little more insight on Cushy. All right. I don't know if this is the last claim here. Peru is Heru. Peru is Heru. It's Heru. Since it was the holy city of Jerusalem. I don't know if y'all heard that before. This is true because in Greek and Latin, Jerusalem translate to Jerusalem. In Greek, Hyros means holy. Please keep in mind that there is no Greek language because Greek is just the Egyptian Coptic language. Gnostic text, according to Dr. Yosef Ben Yakana, also there is no J in Hebrew, which means that the J, which is only about 500 years old, can be replaced with I guess that's an I, a Y, H, or a P. Because in Hebrew, they have the same numerical value. Let us see what happens when you do. So, Jerusalem, and Jerusalem. Heru or Heru, Horus, Peru, and Hero, Helio, holy. It's holy all lead back to ancient Egypt. Okay, Heru and Hiro, they give it because we all know that has ancient Egypt written all over it, but Peru is not Egypt. Or is it the Egypt of the West? So now he's calling it the Egypt of the West. This is YouTube shows you so many similarities between Egypt and Peru that it is too many to be just coincidental. Support this video because videos can be deleted. I give you the book When Rocks Cry Out, or spoiler that demonstrates that Upper Egypt extended from Mexico to Peru. Yes, Peru is indeed Heru, which is more evidence that Upper Egypt was in South America. Like, none of this is evidence. I'm sorry. Like, it's not how you present evidence. This entire time I've, presented evidence, presented information, sources that you can go and look up that debunk everything that this person has basically said. Okay, the Inca of Jerusalem. The Inca of Jerusalem, an almost historical comma diete, 1915, is a comic one-act play written during World War I by George Bernard Shaw. So, what do you do in a situation like that? It's like the guy in Hotep El Bay, you would think he's doing a whole lot of research. In that research, you should be able to find something like this, that the Inca of Jerusalem is an old comedy, which means that, from my assessment, it looks like Horace Butler was well aware of this and actually used this as part of the backdrop to his book. Here's a synopsis. The Inca of Jerusalem, an almost historical comedietta. 1915 is a comic one-act play written during World War I by George Bernard Shaw. The plot appears at first to be a fairy tale-like story about a fantastical Inca, but it eventually becomes obvious that the Inca is Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany. But yeah, let's look at the next slide. So here's another claim the guy made, and I think I'm just about done. It says the Alabaster Sphinx of Memphis, Tennessee was discovered in 1911. Notice the Alabaster Sphinx of Memphis, Tennessee. This is his words now. The Amenhotep El Bay guy, Calvin or something like that, was discovered in 1911, buried amongst the ruins of the great temple of Ptah at Memphis. Now, he left that Tennessee there to make people think he was talking about Memphis, Tennessee, when it says Ptah at Memphis. The carving was believed to take place between 1700 and 1400 BC, which is during the 18th dynasty. It is unknown which pharaoh is being honored, and there are no inscriptions to supply information. This sphinx weighs 90 tons and is 14 foot in height and 26 foot in length, which makes it the second largest sphinx in the world. All right. So he just made a big claim, right? So what we're gonna do, we just pull it up and we're gonna see if what he said is right. This is the Sphinx of Memphis. It's the same Alabaster Sphinx, right? The Sphinx of Memphis or Alabaster Sphinx is a stone sphinx located near the remains of Memphis, Egypt. Egypt, not Tennessee. So how he changed that? That's very disingenuous. That's what I'm talking about. So I've been going through all of this. Yeah, I've been debunking it, but now hopefully you can see there's intentional misinformation here. And so the carving is believed to have taken place between 1700 and 1400 BCE, which was during the 18th dynasty. It is not known which pharaoh is being honored, and there are no inscriptions to supply this information. Facial features imply that the Sphinx is honoring Hatshepsut or Amenhotep II or the third. The discovery, again, so, I just wanted to kind of nail this last nail in the coffin here. The Alabaster Sphinx was discovered in 1912 by Flinders Petrie when an affiliate from the British School in America spotted a uniquely carved object jutting out of a sand hill. It was so far in the season that excavation was useless, but a year later, in 1913, further digging displayed that the object was a sphinx's tail. Composition: the sphinx is carved from a block of alabaster, a yellowish white soft stone, which was considered beautiful in ancient Egypt and was believed to have a mystical connection to the sun. So hopefully you guys can hear that. Again, it just went about the physical attributes. So I'm going to read it again so we know we're dealing with the same artifact, right? Let y'all be able to see that. With a length of 8 meters or 26 feet and a height of 4 meters, 13 feet, the Sphinx of Memphis is considerably smaller than the more recognized Great Sphinx of Giza, but one of the largest monuments ever made from Egyptian alabaster. At those dimensions, it is estimated to weigh around 90 tons. It is supported by a foundation that makes it appear to rise out of the sand. Particularly unusual about the Sphinx of Memphis are the striations on its left side, which are uncommon on Egyptian monuments. So, hopefully we learned something there. We definitely learned that this guy is lying. This is the type of tomfoolery that people end up getting into um, behind some of this false information. As you can see here, let me see, let's make it bigger. I mean, most people know this guy. I mean, as you can see, he has his own made up driver's license. Uh, basically, you see here, United States of America Republic. Like, yeah, bunch of foolishness. And I don't want you to think that I'm off topic at this point. I'm just showing you people that are dabbling in this misinformation usually end up going down this road. Here's another one, another innocent brother just kind of look at Arna indigenous driver's license, current land vessel motor vehicle, Diaspora state. Look at it. I mean, look at this stuff. You see this? Yeah. So, just be careful out here. Don't get caught up into any of this kind of foolishness. Because that's where all that pseudo history, pseudo science, pseudo Moorish science, it leads down that path. If you're not a member of the Moorish Science Temple, make sure that you become one. Find out how to become one. Uh, you can contact me directly if you have questions in that regard, um, because there's too much misinformation out here, and I don't want people to get caught up into that. What we're going to do now, um, we are moving to the end here. So we're almost done, family. Getting ready to shut it down. Pretty sleepy. But I'm going to play these last two videos, and I think there's one more slide, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll call it a night or a morning. All right, let's make this. Pausing it for 1 second, y'all. So the reason why I'm playing this is that one of the claims that people make in this whole argument is that, I know we said Texas, I know we said Tennessee, but also it said Egypt is in the Grand Canyon, right? So we're dealing with the artifacts right now. We got the people that actually have the artifacts sitting on the table. They're going through them. They're going to break down what these artifacts are, what they mean. All those artifacts that they found in the Grand Canyon, who do they belong to? Let's find out, yeah. So yeah, family. I have even more information. They cover more information. There's over 500 artifacts that basically tell his life story. Um, he has his royal seal on it. So all of those artifacts that they found uh, belong to him and his. They say upwards of they say 5,000 or 50,000 people. So a large number of people came with him. Let me put it that way. So he didn't come alone. He came deep, very deep, into the thousands of people. So, you know, that's why we're putting this on here because we don't want people to have the wrong information. Um, I hope the right people find this information, the people that's been looking for this information, the people that have been bamboozled by the wrong information in regards to this. So it's the last slide I'm going to read, and then we're going to shut it down. Because again, title is America Really Ancient Egypt? So Bunsen says in his philosophy of ancient history, the Hamitic family as Rawlinson proves, must be given the credit for being the fountainhead of civilization. This family comprised the ancient Ethiopians, the Egyptians, the original Canaanites, and the old Chaldeans. The inscriptions of the Chaldean monuments prove their race affinity. The Bible proves their relationship. It names the sons of Ham as Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and the race of Canaan. Mizraim peopled Egypt and Canaan, the land later possessed by the Hebrews. Phut located in Africa, and Cush extended his colonies over a wide domain. Philosophy of Ancient History, Bunsen, page 51. We have to realize, you know, a lot of this stuff, these Europeans that are reporting on this stuff, they're not they're not reporting this stuff from the, let's say, a position of people who have traveled to the Americas at that time. These people are coming from Greece and Rome, and they're coming to Egypt proper, Africa. They're not going to the Grand Canyon. They're not going to Texas. They're not going to Tennessee. They're not going swimming up the Amazon River either. So, like, let's be real. Let's you know let's get real. Let's stop playing games. We know Egypt is not in America. Ancient Egypt is not in America. Can we say Egypt definitely was connected to America for thousands of years? Sure. Can we say there's been some intermixing? I'm sure. Can we say that you know at different times that people who were able to build these pyramids in Egypt and in Sudan and Eritrea came across the water and helped build those same type structures throughout the Americas? I believe so. Um, I wouldn't doubt it. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of room because none of us were there, right? But we can again lay the information out on the table and decide whether or not uh, the information is fugazi or not. It doesn't take too much research. If anybody wants to debate me on this, I'm open to it. Just DM me, inbox me. I'm not here really to debate per se. However, uh, I'm standing on this information. I've already debunked it. It's not really a debate left to have. Um, However, I'm open to hear your side of the story. But you know, actually, I'm probably not at this point. I've already um, debunked it several times, but this time, it's pretty thorough. I left some stuff out. I don't think I needed to go too deep because this information is so misconstrued. I just wanted to clear up the misinformation. So hopefully this has been helpful. Family, if you enjoy this information, I know I have a deep voice, so hopefully I'm not putting nobody to sleep too bad. Um, but if this information has been helpful, if you've learned something, please put a like, subscribe, put a comment in the comment section, and let me know if there's any information you want me to cover. Is there any um, topics, um, points of contention that exist within various communities that maybe we can address here. Let me know. I'll be glad to handle that. Hit the notification bell because most of the time I'm going to be coming live, dropping information. So in time, I want people to be showing up, asking questions, so we can have like an open forum. Um, my co-host is not here today. Shout out to Brother Nakfa. Um, Hopefully, I get him on the next one. This was kind of, spur of the moment, but spur of the moment turned into 2 hours. So I'm about to shut it down, family. So with that, I'm gonna say peace and love. Let's get this information down pat, and let's make sure we're not spreading confusion in the community. It's not cool, right? And we have debunked this. Egypt is not in America. Ancient Egypt is not in America. It had its own thing going. That's all I'm saying. Peace.